Good evening. All right, it is now part 2 of this process. So now I'm going to be taking my bread out of the refrigerator. I'm going to be scoring it with my bread lamb, and I will show you all this process. But this is my bread lamb here, and this is where we make our scores on the top of the bread. Currently, I have my cast iron Dutch pot, the enamel one, in my 500 degree preheated oven, and I'm getting it hot because I want to kind of move fast. Once I do this, I want to be able to put my bread up inside of my pot, close it up, and get it in the oven. So it's going to be going here on the parchment paper first to score. I will be picking up the edges of this and dropping it in my pot. So I am going to now go get my bread, and we're going to go from here. And it is suggested that it goes in there for 30 minutes because you want that pan really hot. Okay, so now I'm going to gently remove our bread with the parchment paper on top of it. And it comes right off just like that. Now I'm going to take and score it. And scoring just means a design. At this point, you can do an X, you can go straight through, you can do whatever. You want to do it about a 1/2 inch thick. You want that bread to open up as it's steaming and cooking. So I'll try to take and make my cut. I'm going to go down this way. Probably make some design in this, like a tree or something. And a bread lamb is really nothing but a razor blade on this stick. So make sure I'm doing about 1/2 inch cuts. And you can pretty much see it opening up here like this. This one here just a little bit more. Okay, so now my next step is I'm going to have to be really quick about this and get this inside my pot. I do not need it cooling off. So I'm going to go ahead and get my Dutch pot out of the oven. And it's going to be extremely hot, y'all. These are kind of nice because it was just red and then it turned to a very dark red. So now I'm going to pull that off. I'm going to drop my bread inside of my pot gently. Pull up my sides. Now I'm going to cover it and get it in the oven. Okay. Now I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, we will be right back. Okay, our 20-minute timer has gone off. So we're going to open up this oven as quickly as possible. We're just going to remove the lid to our bread. That's a short space for me. And placing it aside, putting our bread back in the oven. And that has rised beautifully, y'all. I will show you as soon as it's done. Now I'm going to drop my oven to 450 degrees. And I'm going to reset my timer for another 15 minutes. I am looking for a nice dark brown color, almost kind of charred at the tips of it. You want a dark color because that's where your crust is going to form. That's where the sourdough has, when you cut into it, that hard, crispy crust. This is the point where we're doing right now. So as soon as our 15 minutes are up, I will take a look at it and see if I need to go another 5 minutes. It is said to go 15 to 20 minutes for this part of this bread. And we will be right back. Okay, so our 15-minute timer went off again. I will say that halfway through this baking, I turned my pot around to make sure I get an even baking and coloration on my bread. I am now going to check this and see if it needs to go a little longer or not. Yeah. So I'm going to turn this around one more time, and I'm going to watch it here for the next 5 minutes, and I'm going to leave it in here for just a bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and reset mine for about 3 minutes and start it again. And we will be right back. Okay, our timer's gone off again, and now we will check on our bread. Yeah, it's done now. I'm going to take it out of here. Go ahead and turn off my oven. I am now going to pull it out of this pot very carefully, and this is the reason why I went and got the parchment paper to help ensure that I can lift this out. Let me get a pair of tongs. And I will show you the final at the end of this. I'm going to take this now off of this paper, and I'm going to leave it sit on this rack. Just like so. And that's it. Now, it is said not to, a lot of people, we like to dig into our bread when it's nice and hot, but for a sourdough, you want to let this sit at least 30 minutes to a few hours. And the reason for that, because right now it is still cooking on the inside. This is a way to ensure that you won't have any uncooked dough in the middle of this. Also, to find out if your bread is done, you get that hollow thumping noise. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this sit. I'm probably going to let mine sit overnight, but I will show you the final look to the sourdough bread we've spent the entire day together with. So I will pause you for a second and bring you around. And that is our beautiful sourdough. It had split really nicely at my cuts, as you can see right here, which indicated that I vented it quite well for it to spread, and it kept this loaf of bread from busting completely out. So that is a beautiful loaf of sourdough. Now it could probably have gone just a hair longer. For sourdough, they do say that it tends to be dark, so ours is pretty dark right here, but it could have been a little longer. So the book that I use is by Chad Robertson. It is the Tartine Bread book. I did purchase this off of Amazon. This book has some amazing tutorials, step-by-steps, some recipes in it. I mean, this is the best sourdough book I've ever purchased. So if you get a chance, look for the Tartine Bread book by Chad Robertson. It's got some brief history in here. It's an amazing book, y'all. So that is it from Parton's Heritage Homestead. I hope you enjoyed spending the day and the evening with me. Again, these will be in parts, so make sure if you've seen this one and you haven't seen part 1, please go back to watch part 1 to be able to know how to make this bread. I am currently as well starting another batch of sourdough so that I can do the English muffins with you all as well. Now, I'm not sure. I have to see how plans go because hubby has an appointment tomorrow with his doctor. So I will see if I will start this mix, because this is another one that will have to go for about 24 hours in the refrigerator, and then we will bake it the next day. So I will see if I will start the mix tomorrow and then bake on Thursday, or start it on Thursday and bake on Friday. I'll have to see how things go. So, from right now, I'm going to say good night and much love to all of you from Parton's Heritage Homestead.